There we go. All right. So, uh, we got what's this? Episode 5 now.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the fifth one. We gonna do quantum immortality. We gonna talk about the CIA Freedom of Information documents that just got released. In regards to Project Gatekeeper and Stargate. We're gonna talk about the Vatican, the Knights Templar, and some of the shadiness of that. And also, what else was it? Time travel.
Oh,
That's right.
yeah.
All right. So, what did you see in those CIA documents? I didn't get a chance to read them yet, like I said.
I got through like the first few pages. It was
Right.
mostly just like sort of laying out what happened, their process a little bit, but not in depth. The depth was farther down.
The depth is farther down. So, like,
Yeah.
into pages like 15, 20, and so forth.
I guess, I don't know. I made it to page like 6.
Right, right. So, on I was told that there's actually a missing page in there. Page 25 is just totally missing. It's not redacted. It's nothing. It's just gone. So people are trying to put together a FOIA request to get that page to see what's on it. Because if the whole dossier was declassified, why isn't 25 in there? You feel?
Mm-hmm.
So what the hell could be on 25?
Exactly.
I mean, is like, all right, so Project Gatekeeper, for those who don't know, is kind of like related to time travel almost. It was done out of Fort Meade, Maryland, in the United States, and this is back in the 80s, the early 80s, 82, 83, and they were experimenting with a lot of stuff. We talked about it before, as far as like astral projection, things like that, seeing across to other continents while you're sitting in a room, things like that. The CIA has been working on all types of stuff. They're crazy, ridiculous ideas that would blow your mind, and uh, a lot of people claim that they were part of this program and that they actually time traveled. If you Google it, you'll see people that claim that I was part of the CIA time travel program. I have proof. I traveled 118 years into the future, or I went back in time. And you see these pictures of people that are back in the 20s and 30s or the 1800s or whatever the case is, 40s, and they look like they're holding cell phones, or they're wearing a T-shirt that has a screen print on it that didn't come around till the 60s or 70s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, what do you think about that? Do you think like the CIA did discover a way to time travel?
I mean, we wouldn't really know, would we? They keep everything from us. There's
But
definitely stuff that they've done like this that we would never know about. So, I mean, I would believe it. They would have.
right, I think that the things that they do as far as dealing with different stuff that's hidden from us, and things that are kind of like occult knowledge or esoteric knowledge is ridiculous. Um, they search way back in the records of history, and they look for hints and clues and stuff like that. And when Tesla died, right? When Nikola Tesla died, the government came in and seized all of his research,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy. Like, why would you come seize all of his research and say it's under government freaking whatever? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what was in his research that you felt the need to come take all of it?
Mm-hmm.
like, like seriously. I mean, he was trying to give power away to everybody for free with Wardenclyffe and everything like that. But why? There's so much that they hide from us as far as uh, public consumption. You know,
Mm-hmm.
everything's sanitized. Everything is made palatable for us. Like, all right, so let's not release this because we don't want to start a panic, or let's release bits and pieces of it or whatever. And with that, have you seen the lady that Trump has talking about like the virus, and she's talking about succubuses and incubuses and all that?
Yes.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
That's just weird. I
Right,
mean,
but you know that that goes all the way back to medieval times, even
yeah.
before that.
Mm-hmm.
So it, my thing is, what if, just say, what if the government is preparing us for uh something crazy? Because if you look, they're saying, okay, yeah, we admit there's UFOs now. We admit we have a program for UFO research. We admit this. We admit this. So what if they're slowly leading us up to this point that, hey, check it out, aliens have actually been here and we actually have researched them, or whatever the case is, you know?
This sort of ties into the whatever Hollywood, the government using Hollywood to sort of desensitize the public to things before they release them.
Right, the fourth arm of the government.
Yeah.
So what do you like? Do you think that's a possibility?
I mean, definitely. If they're
Because
going to try to do that in any way, it's going to be Hollywood. Because, I mean, if you do it through politicians, right, everyone has their own opinions. There's going to be like half the population that doesn't listen to, I don't know, the Republicans or something. But if you do it straight through Hollywood, I mean, everyone sort of has a neutral opinion on that.
right, eh, because when stuff comes out of Hollywood, you look at it and you say, "Oh, uh, it's coming out of a basement, or it's coming out of a movie set, or whatever." So it's not real, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of like space. The moon landing. Oh, the moon landing was fake. It was done in the Mojave Desert, or it was done here or done there. Things like that, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, I wonder how much of that is actually credible as far as Hollywood, and how much they actually put truth into a lot of this stuff, and how much of it is actually really made up. Because I mean, if you saw 2020 in a movie, you'd be like, damn, that's crazy as hell. Like, you'd
Mm-hmm.
be like, the fuck is going on there? It's like the movie Pandemic, it
Yeah.
really is. So it does Hollywood prepare, like The Simpsons? I remember someone saying, talk about the coincidences of The Simpsons.
Okay, The
So
Simpsons is
do they,
crazy.
right now, are they putting that in there to prepare us, or are they putting that in there and it just so happens that it comes to be, and so forth? Because they say history repeats itself over and over and over again. So how much of that is legit, that they knew and it was planned, and how much of it is just happenstance, I guess?
Okay, two things. One, there's really specific events in The Simpsons that have sort of come true. Like there was some episode where they were in the middle of like a pandemic and there was literally like bees escaping everywhere, like the murder hornets. I
Oh
don't
yeah, I
feel
saw
like
that.
that's happened
Yeah.
before. Two, um, think about all the like what generations would and wouldn't see things in politics, right? Like all the younger kids, the ones that you're really going to influence the most, don't really watch the politics, right? But they watch movies in Hollywood. Hollywood doesn't really, exclude any ages like politics sort of does.
Right, because to be a politician, you have to be at least 18 to 25, I would say, because I've never seen any 18-year-old politicians, but
Yeah.
you know, so it's just crazy, man. Evie, as far as that, uh, the parallel universe have a place. I think now this kind of ties into what we talked about yesterday, Yao.
Mm-hmm.
You said about how, like, would it change to an alternate reality? Because we talked about the butterfly effect before. Like, if we go back in time and we change something, or is it just we go back in time and we're only able to view, we're not able to interact, we're not able to influence or anything like that? Because, like we said before, what if I go back to the Civil War and Abraham Lincoln loses the Civil War, or Ulysses S. Grant, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And General Lee never surrenders to Ulysses at Appomattox. How much different would the world, you know? So,
Okay,
I,
think about this though for a second. So, you know how there's those pictures of people with cell phones or whatever back
yeah,
way back when we're like, what if it's the CIA? What if we reached a point where the CIA was like, let's go back in time and do this? So they went back in time, right? And they took the picture or whatever. Did that change anything in history whatsoever? Was there a different now before they went back?
Right. That's crazy because the smallest thing could alter the whole fate of history. Like you stepping on a grasshopper back in 1832, and the whole course of history could be altered because you killed this grasshopper that was supposed to hop over here and go pollinate some stuff or whatever the case is. And now the whole world's different because you killed that grasshopper.
Exactly.
So it's crazy, you know? It
Hmm.
really is. And I think that uh, we talked about it where Einstein said that Einstein and Hawking actually both said that time travel is theoretically possible. So if it is, then you would think that they're trying to figure out how to do it. Like they're actively pursuing a way to do it to go back and possibly alter history. However, it, I don't know how that would work if they were to go back and alter history.
Yeah.
Like, would we just wake up one morning after we went to bed? Would we just wake up, or would we be walking around and then all of a sudden the whole world just shifts on us?
What if
It,
they went back in time to alter things, but altered it so that the time they wanted to go back to, like the present, they weren't alive anymore? Would they get stuck? Or when they went back, would they just not exist? Or would they come back to life?
I don't know.
Or would there be
That
two of them?
See, that's the thing. I think if you go back, say you went to go back and change something that happened in your past, right?
Hmm.
Like say you had an incident that you didn't want to go through, so you go back to change it, but you can't. Remember, all right, you've seen Back to the Future, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of like that. Like he went back to do whatever it was, and at the same time, he couldn't let himself see himself. You know what I mean? Like he
Hmm.
couldn't let his father see him or anything like that. It's like if you do, it's so weird because if you both exist at the same time on the same plane, how does that work? Would you cancel each other out, or would one of you end up not making it or whatever? You know what I mean?
Also, if there was two of you in the same universe, would there be a universe where you as like an idea as a whole just never existed? Or would this be two different realities overlapping at the same time?
Right. Eh, is it would they go on separate courses and kind of hit a fork in the road and separate or what? It's the whole concept is just it's mind-boggling, and I'm sure there's someone out there that can explain it better than us.
Oh yeah,
Because
definitely.
I don't understand physics. Look, I stopped at algebra 1A in school. I ain't gonna lie. You
Oh
know what I mean? I
really?
don't know. Yeah, bro, I quit school in ninth grade.
Oh.
Yeah, I quit. I'm out of there. School bored the hell out of me. Math isn't my subject, man. History, science, stuff like that, I'm all about it. But math, I can't do no type of like calculations and algebraic equations and all that. Anything past basic fractions and multiplying and stuff like that, bro. Forget it. I'm done. Got that calc.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, like, as far as who should be able, someone asked who should be able to use time travel. So, who do you think, if they were to discover it, should be able to use it, or should it be kept locked away that no one could use it?
I think for the most part, you shouldn't really let people use it because you never really know who you can trust to actually do your thing. But you, like, if you wanted someone to go back in time and change something, what are the chances that they wouldn't, notice, like, oh, I have the power to change something right now for myself as well?
Right.
But
Uh,
also, who could get their hands on it that you didn't want them to get their hands on it?
exactly. Because humans are fallible. So,
Hmm.
much as we try to secure things and we try to lock things away, someone's going to talk. Like,
Yeah.
hey, yo, man, guess what I got at work? I got a fucking time machine. you know?
Yeah.
So it's it's crazy because you see all these things in history. We talked about it before in Egypt about how they had like the gold plane looking thing that was found in the tombs and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
Evie mentioned the watch, a Swiss watch was found in a grave, like a 1,000-year-old grave with a Swiss watch. I saw that. It was like a miniature replica of the watch, I think.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's really um, it's just there's so much bad that could come from time traveling. If you think about it, you
Yeah.
know, because if you allow people to go, I said it before, man. I don't want to time travel, honestly. Like it would be cool if I could go and just view. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
interact. I don't want to change anything. I don't want to do any of that because eh, all the things that I've been through, I wouldn't change in my life. You know, I
Yeah.
just I feel that they made me the person I am, and if I wasn't able to go through those things, I would be a totally different person.
See, I think if
So
time travel was something where if you went back, you couldn't like actually do anything. You could only spectate and could not alter anything. I
right.
think, I mean, you could make it available to really anyone because there's not really a danger in that at that point, other than, people finding out secrets of things. But I don't really know what you'd want to hide. It's just history.
Yeah, but history is written by the victors, man. Like,
Exactly.
think about it. If you go back in history and you find out that uh, this person that they portrayed as this great human being in the annals of history was really a piece of shit, like you're gonna come back and tell everybody, yo, such and such wasn't what they said he was. He was really this, this, and this, and this, and this, and whatever the case is. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So do you think that if they did like release time travel to people, it would kind of be like a virtual reality type thing on your like, all right, so Google Glass and like Oculus and all that, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so do you think it would be like an Oculus type setup where you wear a headset and you view it that way?
I don't know. I feel like they definitely try to make it into that if they did it anytime soon, because that's sort of what exists right now, and that's what people understand.
Shit, my fault. I got disconnected. You there?
Yeah.
All right, I
This is
got
why you can't
disconnected.
leave your house and do this stuff.
Nah, I think I touched my phone in my pocket somehow. So I was doing something, trying to take a drink or something. So, like I said, do you think it would be like that, where like it would be an Oculus setup where you would just view it as virtual reality almost?
I was saying, I think definitely if they did it anytime soon, they would, because that's what the public knows how to use and they understand that. I think
Right.
if they really wanted to, show time travel to the general public, they'd have to do it in some way that's at least slightly understandable. Sort of like how they keep
It,
giving us hints to things that they're going to release.
right. So they would have to make it to where it would be comfortable for us
Hmm.
because we already interact with that technology on a semi-normal basis. So I think I think you're right in that aspect. If they were to come out and say, they kind of do it now, where like if you have Oculus, the Oculus Rift, or whatever the case is, you can download certain things for it, and it takes you back to that period in time, and you
Hmm.
can walk through that area and stuff like that. It's kind of like that, but it's not the same because you're not getting a thorough immersive experience because as much as you can program AI and things like that, it's not the same, you
Yeah.
know? So um, I think that would be really interesting though if they were to release something like that. Uh, would you be down to try it?
It really depends,
On
you
what?
know, on whatever they decided time travel really was. If it was, if you could change things and like hear public have it, I really don't care at this point. I wouldn't
Right,
because I'd feel really bad for messing stuff up. If it was more
right.
like literally just staring at the past, in, like a standard virtual reality kind of idea? Possibly. Would you?
Yeah, I would definitely go. I would want to see how. I said it when I asked the question if you could go to any period in time. I would go to see how the pyramids were built, to see what the pyramids were really used for. Because, we talked about how there was no pharaohs ever discovered in a pyramid. So what were they really used for? And they found all these chemicals in them that it shows possible chemical energy. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
vent stuff like that. So I would want to see that. I would want to see the Colosseum in use by Emperor Trajan, by Nero. I would want to see all that. What else? I would probably go see Greece, the Phoenicians, the Mayans, the Incans. Uh, Göbekli Tepe. I think Göbekli Tepe would be amazing. Um, Kailash Temple. Are you familiar with Kailash Temple?
I don't think so.
Okay, so Kailash Temple it's a temple in India that was built from the top, literally from the top down. So it's ridiculous. It's huge. It's intricate carvings and designs. It's probably one of the most fascinating things I've ever seen. Uh, the way they built it from the top down is it's ridiculous, insane.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're building from the top down, you're carving out as you go. So where
Yeah.
are you putting all of this debris and all of this trash and rubble that you're tossing out to the side? You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that people came and tried to destroy these temples and they were unable to, with thousands of soldiers, they tried for like months on end and they didn't even damage the temple. So how the fuck did they make the temple?
Exactly.
That if they weren't able to destroy it with the weapons and the technology they had, how did they carve the temple? That's what's like mind blowing to me, because we always say, oh, technology's so far advanced now. Technology's so far advanced now. But what about if there was ridiculous technology that we have no understanding of back then?
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So it, I would want to go see all of that stuff, man. I want to see how the rise of civilizations, the fall of civilization, um, the Ides of March to see Caesar get killed. I want to see King Philip II of Macedonia get killed in front of Alexander. I want to see all those things because hey, those are defining moments in history, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
There's two things
And
I'd want to go back and see. One, the Trojan War, because you ever read what the Odyssey or the Iliad or whatever it was?
of course,
Yeah. You know how like it's such a biased sort of side taken in the story. I
right,
mean, there's so many secrets kept on either side of that war. Like you wonder what they had that they had done that would have been different if they had known different things, and how different that war could have turned out.
right.
Second
You
thing,
know,
oh, continue.
that they found the actual site of the Trojan War, right?
Hmm.
You read about that?
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead.
Okay, second thing I'd want to see is go back to when they think or whatever the Bible was written, back when there was Jesus and the prophets or whatever. See
Right,
how much truth any of that actually holds, because a lot of times people write things that they write them to explain things that happen, and I'm not like saying like the Bible isn't right or anything. This isn't
right.
religion based at this point. This is like just
This is just
history.
speculation and thought. That's all.
Yes, yeah. So I want to see how sort of biased that was writing the book. How many things were left out that were happening? If there
Right,
was, you know, if there was anything bad that happened on either side that was never put in that book that would change our thoughts on everything,
right. I
and how like
now
how different their understanding was of what was
exactly
actually happening versus what they actually wrote.
right. So the Bible, in regards to that. Have you ever looked at the four Gospels of the New Testament? Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John. Have you
Mm-hmm.
ever read them through?
Yeah.
Okay. So have you ever noticed how each one kind of caters to a different set of people?
Mm-hmm.
Where one says, "Oh, he was of the tree of David," and another one says he was the son of a carpenter, and another one says he was this, and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, the earliest one I believe was John. I think that was the first one. So you can see how they were playing to a certain audience there. And then as the other ones came about, when they were playing to the Corinthians or the Ephesians, whatever have you, they put different things in there. So
Mm-hmm.
you know about the Council of Nicaea, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Council of Nicaea, for those of y'all that don't know, was when they had this meeting and they put all the books of the Bible in a room. And the king said, whatever's left in the room in the morning is the Bible. Now, I don't know about y'all, but when I put books in a room, they're not going to move by themselves. So people went in and picked and chose exactly what books they wanted in the Bible, as far as the King James Version, the New Testament that is accepted today. There's other books that were left out and they became the apocryphal text. Some of them were found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, which is a whole nother topic that's just crazy and phenomenal to me. Um, so it it's crazy like that man has this power over religion. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
To to pick and choose what goes in and what gets taken out. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene was removed. The Gospel of Enoch was removed. The Gospel of Thomas, aka Didymus, was removed. Um, the Gospel of Simon was removed. So, what was in these books that they didn't want the mass public to read? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So, it's just crazy to think about that religion has been used to shape and control people. And this is my opinion. This is just my opinion on this. So if y'all believe in religion, that's great. More power to you. Me personally, I was raised Catholic. I'm no longer a Catholic. I'm more of an agnostic, kind of pursuing my own thing and things like that. But I believe that religion has been used since the beginning of time to control the masses. I believe that it's been used to commit some of the worst atrocities in history, um, just throughout time. If you look at the Crusades, you know, the Crusades were
Mm-hmm.
horrible,
Yeah.
and the Spanish Inquisition and things like that. More people have been killed in the name of religion than in any other thing in the history of the world. Just everything. Like, look at not to get political, but look at Palestine and the Gaza Strip and everything like that. They've been fighting over that piece of land for how long? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So religion has been used as a basis for war and a basis for killing people, and I just think that it shouldn't be. So um, now that'll segue right into our next topic. But before I do that, I would also go to Atlantis, Evie, because I think Atlantis was probably a legit spot. I think that these people were very, very advanced. Thoth, aka Hermes Trismegistus, I think that he was the person that took all the knowledge of the Atlanteans and spread it across the world, and that's how all these places got pyramids and built the same things, the same temples, and the same different things like that. I think the Atlanteans were very, very, very advanced, and I wish we still knew more about them because Plato said it was past the Pillars of Hercules and this and that, which is now recognized as the Straits of Gibraltar. But back then, who knows what the Pillars of Hercules were in ancient times? So you never know.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, uh, what do you know about the Knights Templar and the Vatican and things like that?
I read a little bit on it. I read the Wikipedia page on it earlier.
What did you read?
Basically that they were like this little group that got sort of exiled from whatever, like the church or whatever, and started their own thing somewhere else. Became
Um,
powerful.
well, okay. So the Knights Templar, they were started by Godfrey de Bouillon from
Hmm.
France, and William St. Clair was a Templar. They were from the Languedoc region of France. They got with the Abbé Bernard of Clairvaux. He had cast that was 9 of them originally. They took a vow of poverty. They took a vow of never washing and being naked in front of each other, things like that. And they took a vow to protect people on their way to the Holy Land. Now, they went and became so powerful because the Pope ended up giving them all this power as far as they didn't report to anybody but him. They didn't have to pay taxes, no nothing. Like they were exempt from everything. So they had ridiculous power. People gave them money, people gave them land. They set up our bank system as we know it today. You could go to a Templar stronghold and you could deposit your money there, and they would give you a piece of paper saying how much money you had, and you could go to the one in 3, 4, 500 miles away, take that piece of paper and get your money there. So they gave us a lot of things as far as modern day banking, codexes. Like a lot of the codexes that were used came from the Templars. Um, they they were eradicated on October the 13th of 13 early 1311 or something like that. The master at the time was Jacques de Molay. The the Pope at the time was in the pocket of King Philip II of France, and he had tried to become a Templar, and they denied him. They said no. So he got mad. He ended up borrowing a lot of money from them, owed them a lot of money, and the Pope was in his pocket. It was the time of the anti-popes where they were in Avignon, France, and they weren't in actual Rome at the time. So they devised this plan to seize all the Templars' assets, to seize their land, to seize their money, to seize everything from them and declare them heretics. That was the only way they could do this under papal law. They had to be declared heretics. They had to be declared as against the church, against God, and doing sacrilegious things to get all these assets taken. So, what they did, they put out this decree, and somehow the Templars got wind of it. Now, it happened on a Friday. That's why Friday the 13th is historically considered a bad day, because that's when all the Templars were rounded up. But they got wind of it on Wednesday or Thursday and got word out to everybody. So all this money that the Templars had, all this gold, all this stuff was never found. They never found their stash of anything. But my thing is, what did you have on the church to give them this power? You feel me?
Hmm.
Because the Vatican is one of the strongest institutions in the world, bro.
Yeah.
Like, they have their own secret service. They have their own bank. They're their own country inside of another country. They're a sovereign nation inside of one of the most well-known cities in the world.
Hmm.
So when the Templars went to Jerusalem, they took refuge. When they first got there, they took refuge in the remnants of Solomon's temple. They dug for 9 years. They say that they dug for 9 years in Solomon's temple, looking for stuff. Now,
Hmm.
some say they found the bones of Jesus in an ossuary, a Jewish ossuary, which is a stone box with his bones in it. Some
Hmm.
say they found the bloodline of Christ. So, if that's the case, that kind of debunked the whole Christianity thing. You feel me?
Hmm.
Because what's Christianity's biggest thing that it's based on? The resurrection.
Hmm.
The fact that Jesus Christ was a man and walked the earth, and he lived without sin and this and that. Now, if they found a bloodline to him, okay, that means he had relations with Mary Magdalene or whoever it was, and they had a child, which is actually something that's been speculated upon because they say Mary Magdalene ran to Egypt. And when she ran to Egypt, she was pregnant. They say there's actually a saint in Egypt area, like Ethiopia, somewhere around there. She's called Saint Sarah. She's a dark-skinned girl, and they say that she was the daughter of Mary Magdalene. So it's just crazy how the Templars amassed this great power and influence in a matter of 30 years. How does that happen?
But also think about if there truly was a bloodline connected back to Jesus. What if that bloodline, I don't know, had survived until at least that time of the Vatican, and they knew of that? You wouldn't want the public to realize that, because then they know there's someone out there that's related to Jesus, and therefore, somehow makes them more important than everyone. Then you have this whole fight over, like, well, shouldn't this person lead the church then if they're related to Jesus? And then the Vatican loses all of its power.
Right. So it's kind of like let me see. If you look at have you ever heard of the Merovingian dynasty?
No.
Okay, so the Merovingians were these kings in Europe. They were really, really powerful and well known. Dagobert II is one of the most famous ones. People like that, and I believe Charlemagne, Holy Roman Emperor Charlemagne, was a descendant of the Merovingians. If I'm not mistaken, someone could probably correct me on that if I'm wrong. But they claim it's just like the royal family in England right now. They claim power over everybody because of their bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. Like, if I was able to say I have the blood of Jesus Christ in me, I could control the church.
Exactly.
So, but if they found the bones of Jesus, that's a totally different story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
now there's no resurrection. He never resurrected. He never ascended. His body was taken down off the cross, and they put him in the cave. And when they came back 3 days later, they said he was gone. But maybe a tomb robber came and took his body. Who knows? You feel me?
Yeah.
So if they say that there was no resurrection, then the whole basis of Christianity falls apart, because people live a Christian lifestyle in hope of resurrection when Christ comes back to earth.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's out the window, then what's left?
Exactly.
Why should I live a Christian life? And this takes us to the Vatican archive. Like, what the hell is in there?
Yeah.
Like, because if you look through history, you have all these people that were oppressed by the church. Galileo, who said that the universe wasn't Earth-centric, it was heliocentric. Things didn't revolve around the Earth. We revolved around the sun. The sun was the center of the universe. He was banished to house arrest for like the last fucking 30 years of his life, bro.
Yeah.
All because he spoke out against the church. Like, they labeled him a heretic because, that's blasphemy. The earth is the center of the universe. No, it's really not. Science proves it, because you can see things don't fucking orbit around us. You feel me? So, what do you think is in the Vatican archives?
There's gotta be, information that sort of they don't want people to know, because if they know it, sort of like the bloodline or like the bones, it's gonna throw off the entire basis of Christianity. It's gotta be, stuff that they... Is that a chicken?
No, that's a dog.
Oh, okay. Okay, so either way, it's stuff that, would make them lose their influence. And stuff that they don't want people to find.
Right. Do you think... all right, so there was a Pope, Leo X, right? Pope Leo X, he said, there's a famous quote attributed to him. I won't say if it's real or not because it's attributed to him. I can't definitively prove if it's real or not. So he said that it has served us well, this myth of Christ. I mean, if you think about it, if there is no true Christ, right? If there is no true Jesus, the Catholic Church has amassed a crazy, crazy amount of wealth, influence, and power.
Mm-hmm.
And just think about that. Think about how powerful they are. Think about how countries kind of like kowtow and bow down to Catholicism and the Pope. Think about how powerful he is, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you
Well,
have, go ahead.
I think it's sort of, it goes to say for every religion, whatever powerful religious figure, it's sort of based off of, if there's any proof against the existence or the truth behind that person, it can throw off entire countries that are based off of the governance by religion.
Right. From bloodline stuff and
Mm-hmm.
things like that.
Yeah.
You're right. It's, you know, I was talking about it with a couple people last night about how religion, the Christianity religion per se, is actually taken and modified from older religion, pagan religion. Like we celebrate Christmas on the winter solstice or the winter equinox because that was a holiday for the pagan. And back when Christianity was becoming a thing, back in 45 AD and so forth, when it was just first starting out, these people were still pagans. They were still going to these pagan temples, the Romans and things like that. They were going and still paying homage to Zeus and Aphrodite and Athena and Diana and Ceres and all these people. So I think that part of it is why Jesus, if you look at a picture of Jesus now and look at a picture of Zeus and put them side by side, they look similar.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Jesus is depicted as a white guy with blue eyes and brownish blonde hair, because that's what the Romans were.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it's all about, it goes back to what we said earlier, making it consumable to the masses and making it easier for them to accept. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So people don't realize that, like Santa Claus, for example. Santa Claus came from the Dutch, but Santa Claus was actually a Norse god, and he was taken from Norse mythology, and he was an old white guy with a staff, and he rode this sled type deal that had some animals that pulled it and had helpers and things like that. So, we get all of these traditions and we get all of these things from older times. Like Amen. You know where Amen comes from?
Maybe. I mean, not off the top of my head, but I'd recognize it.
So Amen comes from the Egyptian Amun, Amun Ra. So, we take parts of the past and bring it together and amalgamate it into a palatable consumption for the masses, because we want to kind of please everybody, I guess. When you're trying to push religion, you're trying to please people. You're trying to please and make it so people are comfortable accepting it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's you have to take things that they already know, just like what we said about time travel. If they already know the Oculus and putting the thing over your head and all that. So if they do time travel like that, they're more likely to accept it. If you
Yeah.
change religion, you're more likely to accept it if it's, oh, well, look, Jesus looks just like Zeus, and I already go pray to Zeus at the Parthenon or whatever. So what's the difference? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I think another thing that sort of ties into that is a lot of people seem to forget that Jesus isn't white. He's
He's
Middle
not.
Eastern. And
Right.
I think the problem behind that was when the British Empire and stuff was colonizing everywhere, they were white, but they were pushing Christianity on everyone. Who knows if they, sort of twisted the truth, or if it was just sort of some assumption that came up from people that were new to this, religion. But I mean, in some way, it controlled the masses using that ideology. That if you went into this foreign country that had people that were of a different ethnicity, and you pushed this religion that is supposedly, based off of this guy with the same skin color as you, they sort of believe that this religion is way higher than they would be.
Right.
I think that sort
Eh,
of made it a little bit easier in some way for them to push this religion on people, as if they changed it slightly.
yeah, it's just small tweaks. That's all it is. It's they the Romans saw the winds of change were blowing, and they were quick to adapt and grab on. You know,
Hmm.
and they saw that people were gravitating towards Christianity, and that if they didn't accept it, then the emperors and the rulers were in jeopardy of being tossed out and tossed to the side.
Hmm.
So it's it all goes back to the control thing, man. It really does because now, okay, I'm the Holy Roman Emperor. Like I'm him. I'm it. You feel me?
Hmm.
So eh, it's just crazy how religion can control, and any religion taken to an extreme is terrible. Any religion that's bastardized and twisted by extremists and things like that. I don't care if it's the Pastafarians and the flying spaghetti monster, or Christianity, or any religion, whatever it is. Any religion can be bastardized and twisted and made to have people do bad things and used for horrible, horrendous purposes by shitty humans. So it's just like I think that the Vatican exerts too much influence and too much control. I think they've covered up a whole lot of atrocities that have been committed, like
Hmm.
a whole lot, you know, and
Yeah.
from from things that have happened where, all right, so you know how like if you're Pope, there's no autopsy allowed to be performed on you when you die.
Yeah.
So if I have somebody that's the Pope and I don't like them, I could theoretically, this is all just speculation, by the way. If the FBI is listening, I'm not talking about killing the Pope. So this is just speculation. I could theoretically poison the Pope, and even though there's blatant signs of poisoning, there would be no autopsy, and
Hmm.
I would be able to then, hopefully, if I was smart enough, be able to infiltrate the conclave and procure enough votes or sympathy for the cardinal that I want in power because he's in my pocket. You feel me?
Hmm.
So it's it's a messy game, man. Like the church is vicious, bro. I had a friend that actually worked in the Vatican, and he was like, "Look, I can't tell you directly the type of stuff because they'll come after me, but I can tell you that the things you think you know are nothing compared to what you don't know." She
Yeah.
she was she was like, "Look, the technology you think is out right now is nothing compared to what the Vatican police have and the Vatican Secret Service and stuff like that. The what's it called? The Vatican Intelligentsia or some shit." So it's it's crazy, bro. Like
Hmm.
you got to think. They have if you're a church, right? You're not taxed. You have no income tax. You're
Hmm.
under very few guidelines as far as businesses and stuff like that because you're technically a 501c nonprofit, I guess. I
Hmm.
would think. So, how does the Vatican has so much money, not just in liquid assets as far as gold and money in a bank or anything like that at the Vatican Bank, but think about the artwork they have.
Hmm.
Like, how much do you think some of that artwork is worth? St. Peter's Square, right? Say,
Yeah.
do you remember Carmen Sandiego?
Yeah.
Okay, so say I'm Carmen Sandiego and I go steal Vatican Square and I'm trying to offer to somebody, right?
Hmm.
How much do you think I could get for St. Peter's Square, bro, with all them saints that were carved out of marble around the top and everything like that? You feel me?
Hmm.
It's just, it's ridiculous the artwork they have that was commissioned for them by some of these artists like Botticelli, uh, Giovanni Bernini, Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, some of the masters of that time.
Hmm.
And to just think about how much that shit is worth, and not even including what's in the archives, the codexes of Galileo or of other scientists that they freaking took. And also, do you think that in the archives they might have like the Mayan codexes? Because when they went to South America, they were trying to convert the Mayan people. into Christianity and Catholicism, because Catholicism stands for one world church. That's pretty much what it boils down to. So, do you think that even though they say they burnt, there's that dog again.
Oh,
Even though they say they burnt all of these codexes, they say they saved. The one guy did save one, but do you think that they had more? Maybe.
definitely.
If they do, though, why wouldn't they release them? Because we're trying to figure out the Mayan glyphs and stuff like that, and we like nobody understands the Mayan language. So why wouldn't they release it? Like, hey, yeah, we were going through some stuff in our attic and found this book.
Because if we could understand the Mayan language, there's a chance that there's things in there that make a lot more actual sense and sort of debunk Christianity, you know?
I mean, but I don't think there's stuff in the Mayan codex that could debunk Christianity.
Well, I mean, like,
Now, in the archives themselves, yeah.
yeah, but imagine if the Mayans, you know, had a lot of stuff that was based off of like actual natural proof, right? And you saw these events that lined up with like other religious events, right? That were sort
Right.
of supposed to be worldwide, but if you had solid proof that these things happened from the Mayans, that would mean they didn't happen in actuality in whatever other religion that was.
Right. So did we borrow them? Is that what you're trying to say?
I don't know.
Because like I would I think that the Mayans were uh, a lot more advanced than we give them credit for as far
Hmm.
as astrology and astronomy.
Yeah.
They were a very very understanding of the stars, the moon, the sky, and things like that. They plan it based on the season from looking at the sky and things like that. Um, it's just crazy, and to think about what could be in those archives, though, I would pay so much to get in there because even if you're granted access, like you have someone with you,
Hmm.
so it's not like you just get free roam and you could just go and like look through the cabinets like you're at your friend's house or something. You feel me?
Hmm.
So I think, do you think if you started getting close to something, they would stop you?
Probably.
Like, whoa, 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 my man, whoa, whoa, come here, come here. Did you see this over here?
Okay, but
Like,
like
yeah,
you know how in the Bible there's the Great Flood, you know, where the entire world was flooded and it was restarted from Noah and his wife or whatever, you know.
right.
So what if there was some like record somewhere else in the world of something different happening at that time that had a lot more proof behind it than this flood?
Well,
That
there is.
means, well, yeah, exactly. That means that the flood never happened and that that's something that's wrong in the Bible. And it would lead people to be like, wait, what if there's more that's not, you know, historically correct in there?
Well, the flood. I know what you're saying. I get exactly what you're saying. Was some of this stuff made up or just fabricated from nowhere? But the as far as the flood goes, there's actually the Epic of Gilgamesh, and I believe Gilgamesh. Somebody probably knows is listening right now. I believe it was a Hindu thing. If I believe, I'm not sure, but Gilgamesh was a flood, and it was basically the same as Noah, and it's just part of the Hindu religion, I believe, and it comes from that. So I think, like I said, I think a lot of it's borrowed, man. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's it's, it's so crazy to just think about how religion is formed. Like, how do you even form a religion? How do you come up with it? Like, all right, take Egypt. Egypt for thousands of years was worshiping polytheism, multiple gods, right?
Mm-hmm.
We pray to Anubis, we pray to Isis, we pray to Osiris, we pray to whoever, you know. And then all of a sudden, here comes Akhenaten. Akhenaten says, "Nah, fuck that, y'all. We gonna pray to the Aten. We gonna pray to the sun." So he got called a heretic. He got called like all this crazy stuff. Even look at Mormons, Brigham Young and Joseph Smith. Look at them. Like Joseph Smith was murdered, bro, for
Mm-hmm.
trying to start religion. So they killed him in I think it was Ohio, actually, your favorite state. So which which your skyline chili.
I don't even like that stuff though.
You ever been there?
Yeah,
Have you?
I
It's
don't like
it's
it.
not bad. Like Cincinnati chili's not bad. It's a little different because it has bitter chocolate in it and a little bit of cinnamon and stuff like that. But it's all right. I can't knock it like that. My girl used to make it all the time, so she loved it. I just ate it. You know what I mean? So anyhow, like Brigham Young, he or not Brigham Young, Joseph Smith. He's the for those that don't know, he's the founder of the Mormon religion. He said that the angel Moroni came to him and gave him this angelic language understanding of these golden tablets that he discovered, but he never showed anybody the tablets. He never showed anybody anything. He just wrote this whole book, the Book of Mormon. Now, how do you like was he tripping? Was he on mushrooms? Was he hallucinating? Or like did he really believe this stuff? Do you think like how would you if you were to start a religion, how would you go about it?
Um, I think you, or at least I would try to make it at least somewhat different from other religions, because if you make it similar, people are just gonna be like, oh, you're just making up stuff based on other things. And you can't have stuff without fact behind it, or else people aren't really gonna believe it, you know?
Right. So you have to have a basis on fact and a basis on reality and things like that. But have you ever read the Book of Mormon? Like any
No,
part of
no.
it? So there's all right. Salt Lake City is like the biggest Mormon place
Oh yeah.
in the country. So I had a friend that moved out there. It's beautiful, by the way. Salt Lake City is
Mm-hmm.
absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous. Um, but the Mormon Church is very corrupt. A lot of the elders are into selling drugs and all types of craziness and corruption. So the damn, where was I going with that? All right,
I don't know.
so um, they damn, I totally forget now. Shit, I totally forget. What were we? Ah, fuck, I lost my train of thought because my fucking mom texted me. So, all right, let me try to think real quick. The Mormons, Joseph Young. All right, so they moved out to Salt Lake City, and they set up this crazy church, and the Mormons are pretty much like they keep to themselves. If you're not in the Mormon community, they don't really associate with you like that. I mean, they do, but they in Salt Lake City they really keep to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually have what's called magic Mormon underwear. That was where I was going with this. So magic Mormon underwear, you can Google this. I kid you not. You can look it up for yourself.
I'm looking it up right now.
It's actually a one-piece jumper that has flaps on the butt and in the front for you to use the bathroom. And they're called Magic Mormon underwear.
This is the weirdest thing ever.
Did you see it? Did you Google it?
Yeah.
You see it?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Why does this
crazy, right?
exist? Okay, where are you going with this?
So, religion can make you do crazy things. Like you're gonna go wear some Magic Mormon underwear, and not only that, but you're probably gonna order it from a Magic Mormon underwear site that's run by someone who's propagating this Magic Mormon propaganda. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So it's all controlled, man. It really is. Um, I have a lot of Muslim friends. They tell me, "Yo, bro, you should be Muslim." Come on, da, da, da. I'm like, look, man, I've read the Quran, I've read the Bible, I've read the Torah, I've read about Taoism, about Buddhism, all different religions. Um, I I take bits and pieces from each one that applies to me, and I rock out that way. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Because I just I believe in a higher power, but like I said before, bro. I don't know if that higher power is an alien from Area 51 or uh, a little man that's inside my body controlling me like Men in Black. So I don't know, but I do believe that there's something, um, there's something. I just wish I we could discover how the church became as powerful as they are, and see the secrets that they keep, because the Vatican, bro, the Vatican has some shady shit. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I, just give me an hour in the archives to run free. I'm gonna have everything on the floor. I'm gonna be digging through everything. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna look like I was shopping spree at a toy store at like 6 years old.
Yeah.
So, uh, back to the Knights Templar. Um, Crazy thing about them, when Jacques Demo, all right, the Shroud of Turin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Shroud of Turin is said to have come from, they carbon dated it, and it's said to be from the 1300s. Now, Jacques de Molay, the Grand Master of the Templars at the time that they were all rounded up, was kept in France, tortured, and looked similar to the fate that was on the Shroud of Turin. Now, they say that, he was hung from a door, he was beaten with whips, his feet were held over hot coals until they were burnt and they were bone, and all this stuff. He was tortured relentlessly by inquisitors. So they say that when he was laying there, someone came in after he died and wrapped him in this shroud. No, I'm sorry, I'm lying. While he was still alive, he was wrapped in a shroud. Now, they say that the enzymes from his blood are what transferred to the shroud and what left that ghostly image that you see on the shroud, because he was burnt at the stake. When he was burnt, he told the Pope, I believe it was Pope Clement the fourth or fifth at the time, and King Philip. Um, he told both of them. He said, "You'll pay for this. I'll see you in hell within a year." Within a year, they were both dead.
Mm-hmm.
So, crazy coincidence or divine intervention?
Yeah.
Which one?
Don't know. What do you think?
I think that it's kind of like Nostradamus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nostradamus said a bunch of different stuff in his quatrains, and he said that, all right, uh, when the lion has a stick in his eye or whatever the case was, he was talking. They say, oh, that was Sir Richard the Lionheart, how he died when he was jousting and the lance broke and he had the full face shield on except for his eyes because the slip through his eyes and the splinter from the lance went right through there, went into his eye, and he died a week later from an infection. So it's easy to look back and connect these things. I don't know if anyone back then connected it.
Mm-hmm.
I think Philip died in battle or fell off a horse or something like that. And the Pope, I don't know how he died. I forget. Um, it's just a lot of times it's coincidence, but our brain tries to pick out these patterns and the reasoning for it, and we want to understand everything. Like, why did this happen? Why did that happen? Oh well, Jacques de Molay said that Philip and Clement were going to die anyway, so it had to be him. It had to be God protecting Jacques de Molay and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know anything about the Priory of Sion?
No.
Okay, so the Priory of Sion, you saw the Da Vinci Code, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you saw the Da Vinci Code, the Priory of Sion was the protectors of the Templar's secrets after they were disbanded. However, before I get to the Priory of Sion, the Knights Templar actually became the Knights Malta or the Knights Hospitalier, one of those two. They actually have a church in Portugal. It's very well known, very, very well known spot. They had a couple of them in Portugal actually, because after all their assets were seized in France and things like that, in the Languedoc region of France, they all escaped. The ones that did escape, they say they went to Portugal, and they say some of them came to the U.S. There's actually a spot in is it Rhode? I want to say Rhode Island, I think, that has it's kind of like a tower that was set up like a Templar thing, and there's this certain mark that the Templars use. It's like this. It's called a hooked X. It's an X, but the one line is kind of like a fish hook almost. So, they say that was their signature, and that shows that it was a Templar spot and this and that. But back to Priory of Sion. The Priory of Sion were the protectors of this secret that the Templars had. No one knows what it was still. That's why, like, the search for the Holy Grail, they say, people say, was it really the blood or the cup that Jesus drank from at the Last Supper? Mm-hmm. So, what do you think the Holy Grail was? Do you think it was actually a cup, or do you think it was something else? Like, do you think it was the bloodline, or maybe bones, or maybe other information that was found about him?
I think it could honestly be anything, really. What do you think? I'm just going to put these questions back on you.
So, the Holy Grail, there's a couple different ways that it's looked at. It's either sang real or sang real. One is holy blood, one is Holy Grail. So, if it's the holy blood, it's the bloodline of Christ, which leads back to Sarah. If it's the Holy Grail, it could be the cup, Yeah. But I don't know. There's so much stuff from history as far as religion, like the Spear of Destiny. You heard about that story?
Yeah.
So you know the Spear of Destiny and Hitler and all that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So there's supposedly two of them. One of them is locked away somewhere, and the other one is out on display. Now, one of them isn't able to be tested, and the other one, I believe they tested with some of the metal that was inside of it from the nails and things like that. The Spear of Destiny is supposed to be the spear tip from the lance that pierced Jesus Christ while he was hanging on the cross. It was said that whoever had the Spear of Destiny could control the world. Hence, why Adolf Hitler wanted it. So, do you think that there was any truth to that? And do you think maybe Hitler was like fooled or whatever?
You said there was two, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, technically, yeah, there's a very good chance that they just gave him a fake.
So you think he got hoodwinked?
I mean, possibly. I mean, things didn't end well for him, so.
Right. It's just crazy, like, to think about someone having that much power from a relic of history. It's kind of like the relics of saints and things like that. As far as people see power in them and power attached to them, I believe Saint Peter, the first pope of the church, Saint Peter, his bones, they say his bones were actually in with Christopher Columbus's bones that were at a church. In fact, I believe it might have been Cologne Church in Germany. I think that's where it was. So, people attach so much significance and things like that. For anybody that's Catholic, were you brought up Catholic?
No.
Okay. So for anybody that's Catholic, the significance of relics and things like that within the church. The bones or different pieces of somebody or different things that they had owned, whatever the case is, being in certain churches. The Catholic Church actually sends out relics to churches, like, yeah, here's a relic of this or that. Back in the day, it was actually bones and pieces of people. Like here's some finger bones or something, you know. So it's it's crazy the power that's attached to these things that people give significance to, and
Hmm.
it just makes you wonder, like, is there anything to it? Is there really? You know.
Yeah.
So we'll finish it off with quantum immortality because this is the that you wanted to talk about. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
Okay, so for anyone that doesn't know what quantum immortality is, it's like the idea that yourself, like as an idea that's carried across, multiple realities, it can never kill itself and or experience death because every time you make a decision, there's multiple, branches that go off of that, different realities where each decision you could have made was made. So therefore, if you were to try to, this is like the example I saw on YouTube or whatever, if you were trying to shoot yourself, if you pulled the trigger, there's going to be a reality where you succeeded and one where the gun jammed. Therefore, you can't experience death because the consciousness that did is no longer conscious, and you have this other reality where you are still alive. And no matter how many times you attempt this, there will always end up being a reality where you fail. So, it sort of goes along with or it kind of goes against the multiverse idea, where the multiverse, there's an infinite number of realities for every single possibility that can, exist. And the universe sort of knows what's going to happen. It's already pre-planned. But
Right.
with the quantum immortality, it's made as it goes. Every decision you make branches off into many more different realities of every possible choice.
So it
And,
goes off its decisions. It's each
mhm,
thing is created as you go along.
it's like a tree growing, you know.
Right. So it branches out as you go.
Hmm.
So, eh, all right. So if that's the case, then if I decide to go left down this road in another dimension, did I go right down another one?
Yeah, I mean, technically.
So every every decision I make, there's another universe where the opposite happens.
Yeah, or if it's like imagine you were taking like a test, like multiple choice test. There's,
Right.
you're going to look at question number 11, A, B, C, or D. If you choose A, there's going to be three other realities where you choose B, C, and D as well, theoretically.
Okay. So
So it's not
in
always
one
like yes or
universe,
no.
right. So there's always multiple options where I could have went left, went right, or kept going straight and hit a tree.
Hmm.
So all right. So basically, there's multiple multiple dimensions where different timelines are running according to your current choices.
I guess, yeah.
Is that how it goes?
I
Because I
think.
didn't I didn't look this up. That this is your thing. I didn't do the research on this one.
Yeah, I didn't do very much research into this.
Okay, so oh man, and they're not here either because I talked to them earlier. The person that wanted this, they're not here. Damn, do any of y'all know anything about quantum mortality? Anybody? Because I don't know too much about it, and Yao didn't research too much. So, so there's more than two options for every decision you make. There is always more than two options because, like he said, everything's not yes or no. It's there's always other options. I mean, yeah, you can ask direct questions or you can do direct things, which are yes or no. But there's also things that take all your free will. Like you have total free will of it. Like, all right, for instance, do I want to get up and go to the bathroom, or do I want to sit here and just handle my business on the couch? That's free will.
Hmm.
So it's 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 always yes and no options, and so there's always yes and no, and there's also uh, other decisions that you can make. Like I think we talked about the other day where we make so many decisions consciously and unconsciously, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess in another, according to quantum immortality, we if everything we do has an equal and opposite reaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's Newton's law of motion. Um, that, and he says that whatever happens, if I hit this car, there's opposite reaction. I'm gonna get hurt, and I'm gonna go the other way. So in another universe, I guess that all these things that are the opposite reaction and the equal reaction are going on. And I would like to go to this universe just to see what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
just to be able to see and to view it and to experience a different viewpoint and a different take on life, I guess. Kind of like the one where NASA said they found the universe that time travels backwards.
Yeah.
Like, I would love that. Now people are saying that NASA really didn't discover it, and it's not true, and all this stuff. But if it were to be true, bro, I would love to go to a universe where time travels backwards, just to see how things work. Like, does the grass start already grown as high as it goes and then shrink back down? Does a tree start fully grown and shrink back down? What do you
Mm-hmm.
think?
I don't know.
Like, do you, do you think an animal starts out at like when it's about to die? Like all of a sudden, the animal just pops up on the scene, and it's like, say it lives to 80 years old or whatever, and it pops up and it's 80, and then it just gets younger and younger and younger. How would that work?
Yeah.
It's just so crazy, so crazy. Till we go back into our mothers at death. but but how would you go back into your mother if she's not existing due to the fact that she's already gone because she was older than you? Because she been gone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, eh, there's just the whole parallel universe where time goes in a different direction. It's just crazy, crazy, crazy to think about that, because you have all these questions and you wonder, like, how would life go? How would trees and things like that? Would birds fly backwards? It's just really, really strange and interesting. I just find science interesting, man. Like the whole aspect of uh just different things, different outcomes, different experiments and things like that. Like, have you ever burned magnesium?
Yeah.
So you know how bright it gets, like
Mm-hmm.
the hot flash and everything. That's
Mm-hmm.
crazy to to just see, and that's what they use in fireworks, I think, isn't it?
I think.
To get the different colors, and because it burns different colors at temperatures and everything. So
Uh-huh.
it's it's just crazy. Science is so interesting to me, and to be able to test these hypotheses and these theories and all these things, it's fascinating because you could do something one way and then all of a sudden you switch up the smallest thing, and all of a sudden you have a totally different result.
Mm-hmm.
it, I think that's kind of like why I like cooking so much, and not baking, because if you add if you're making something if you're baking something and you add too much baking powder, all of a sudden your muffins go from muffin into gigantic fucking cakes, and all over like an extra teaspoon of baking powder or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's an exact science, and as much as I'm a fan of science, I'm not a fan of baking because of that reason. I love your for real.
Okay, I drew out a little diagram to try to explain something I couldn't figure out how to put into words.
Go, here we go. What the heck is that?
Okay, so
Hey,
you're born, right? You have all these different timelines that start because of your decisions, right? And in each one of them, you're going to end up dying at some point, but there's one that's going to be the last surviving one. So you die, right? But reincarnation.
yo, are you Are you high, bro?
No.
So go ahead. You're bored,
Okay, so
and then you
you
go on this
die.
lightning rod.
Okay, so you're born, right? And throughout your life, you make more decisions, and it starts making all these little realities that branch off. And in each one of those
Okay,
realities, it's its own timeline, right? And eventually, you're going to die. But there's going to be one timeline that's the last one that you're in. You're going to die. That's going to be the end, right? But
right,
if we truly have souls, which are made of energy, and energy cannot be created or destroyed, that means you have to be reincarnated for life to continue, like producing on Earth.
right.
So there's a point where you are reincarnated, and then the whole process starts over again.
By the way, did you draw that in MS Paint, bro? Like a straight MS Paint drawing with your mouth. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I can touch my screen. I was drawing with my finger. But it's so bad I
Awesome.
couldn't write out reincarnation without it being illegible, so I just typed it.
Yeah, that's gonna be the picture for the video too, by the way. That's gonna be the YouTube picture for the video.
Oh no.
But I get what you're saying though, because like, you're born and then you have all these different choices. Like, all right, in one universe, did I go to college? Did I graduate college? Did I stay in school? Did I quit school? Did I have a kid at this age? Did I have a kid at that age? Did I not fall out of that tree and hit my head? Did I not do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's crazy to really think about all these different possible yous that are existing at the same time. It really is. If I was high right now, I would be like totally mind blown by this shit. So, but do you think we're reincarnated?
I mean, if we're going by like the most logical thing we can, yes.
So, if reincarnation exists, then do you think some of the most evil people in history, such as uh, serial killers, Richard Ramirez, John Wayne Gacy, Charles Manson, Ted Bundy, people, Hitler, Mussolini, Joseph Stalin, do you think these people are reincarnated?
I mean, technically, yeah. If there's no,
But if
like otherworldly system that sort of decides, like let's say we also have, the system of like heaven and hell. Technically,
right,
there's no way that they would be reincarnated because there's like this idea that if you're bad, you go to hell. If you're good, you go to heaven. And then there's a chance that from heaven you could be reincarnated or whatever.
so they just pick you like, hey, yo, it's your turn, like off the bench.
I don't
Just 6
know.
man today, come on. Is it like a football team? Like they're subbing people in? Like, all right, we got 3 coming out, and we got 3 to go in. Who wants to go? Who wants to go?
I don't know.
Like you just sitting up in heaven, wait. Like, is it my turn yet, God? Is it my turn? God's like, no, sit your ass down. Stop it. So, I mean, it's a legit question though. These are questions that I wonder about. Like sometimes I think about these things. Are people that were so evil, are they reincarnated? Like, all right, take a mass murderer or a serial killer or whatever, and were they really somebody from history that was a horrible person? Were they
Mm-hmm.
a piece of shit back then, and they come back and they still have these tendencies, and you know it's crazy because you just think like you would see signs of it, like, oh man, this kid's acting like a little Mussolini or a little Hitler. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just crazy to think about, man. Eh, if y'all are ever bored, just think about the stuff we talk about,
Yeah.
because we talk about some crazy. So that's a
This
little
is a lot
Mussolini.
better than me trying to explain quantum immortality over entirely just typing things in the physically drawn out chart.
The chart was badass, though, I'm not gonna lie. for y'all that weren't in the chat to see the chart, y'all are gonna see it on YouTube video. I promise.
I'm gonna see if I can
So,
find the other chart, the
oh,
original chart.
the
Yeah, the
one
one
you
I drew
drew.
last night. The better one.
I think it's in the direct message. I think.
Yeah, I found it.
You found it. Wait till y'all see this one. He got both of them. Hang on. There you go.
Vivi says she likes the green. I think it was Vivi. Someone says they
The
like,
green colors.
yeah.
That just shows where you're reincarnated at.
Yeah. No, that was the difference between multiverse and quantum immortality.
Oh, that's what that was.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got blue lines mixed off with red lines.
No. No, you're thinking of the one I just drew. This is the one from last night.
Oh, the green word where it
Are you
says
not even
happens
looking
as
at the
it goes.
chat?
No, I am. This one says happens as it goes and entirely predicted, premeditated,
Preordained.
preordained. I'm in this sun. I can't really see.
Oh,
Yeah, beautiful.
thank
So,
you.
you know,
It had been like 1 a.m. I was drawing that.
I know. You said that shit to me last night. I was like, what the hell is this?
You went along with it though. That's the
I
worst
did.
part.
Oh, man.
Yeah, to quote,
So,
okay, I get it.
I did, though. Like, at that point in my life, when I was sitting up at probably like 1 o'clock in the morning, at that, I was probably fried out of my mind because I was doing so much crap during the day. I'm just ready to go to sleep. I'm just like, yeah, I get it. Yeah. So, do y'all have any questions before we end it? Anyone? Anyone? Negative? All right. Nope. All right. So I guess we'll end this one here with Gal's Picasso rendition of quantum immortality and string theory. And yeah, hope y'all have fun. And I guess we'll do this again, maybe tomorrow or the next day, whenever we can. And shoot us some topics y'all want us to talk about. Y'all see how it goes. We just bullshit and branch off to other stuff and talk about madness and craziness. And for all y'all waiting for us to sing, it will happen. I promise you it will. It's just not going to be this one because I'm outside and kind of out of breath right now. It's not going to happen right now. But I promise you it will. Maybe the next episode if I'm inside. Till then, see y'all later. And yeah, talk to y'all then. All right, bro. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.